Hi guys, my father left me when I was 1, and I'm a Bebop main. Let me share some tips and tricks I've learnt through my almost 200 games of being mediocre at him. As of the latest patch, I am currently Ascendant 2, after the rank reshuffle, but I peaked at Oracle to before that, so I'd say I might have some decent info to share today. Now, to get the obvious out of the way, my win rate is frankly terrible, but I'd mostly attribute that to my addiction to the Echo Shard bomb playstyle, which really hasn't been viable for a long time. For context, when I played in the early beta, you would gain 5% stacking damage per explosion, which led to some insane damage late game. In contrast now, you only gain 1.5% per hero hit, and 4% on hero kill, which is obviously way worse. And speaking of that, I'll just get it right out of the way. The bomb Echo Shard playstyle is frankly not worth pursuing. Even with the modern playstyle changes of adding Witch Mail, Lifesteal, and etc. I mean, just look at this clip. I had 200 stacks and managed to get so many bombs off. But in the end, nothing fucking died except me. All I did was stall and bite the enemies like an annoying mosquito. There are so many reasons why it isn't good that I could make a whole video detailing how Valve massacred this playstyle, but I'll just do a quick lightning round. Now, the first reason that this playstyle is shit is that you are incredibly weak in lane. Your only form of harassment is your bomb, which does nothing early game. You might think 100 damage is a lot, but usually when you get close enough to put the bomb on someone, your 2 stamina and your fat ass means that enemies can easily chase you down and do more than 100 damage back to you. I'll often see bomb Bebops in lane run up to an opponent to farm stacks, only to be hit with the most negative trade since that time someone bought copper from Ayanasa. Notice how in this clip, Bebop loses more than 200 HP and almost dies, just to bomb the Infernus once. The second reason is that scaling is made so difficult because you have to rush Echo Shard early to farm stacks, but this makes your early farming and laning extremely painful. Look how little damage you do to a level to camp with your early laning items and boons. Even with Echo Shard and more boons, if your lane wasn't dominant and you couldn't farm a lot of stacks, you still can't fast clear level to camps. Thirdly, you need so much farm to do well that you end up stealing farm that your other carries would probably do better with. Just look how expensive a fully kitted out Bebop build is. You are also stuck in a contradiction, as you need both stacks and items to do good damage and become tanky. However, if you spend all your time fighting enemies to farm stacks, you get no farm and can't get your core items. On the other hand, if all you do is farm, you also can't get any stacks. In other words, you are fucked no matter what you do. Lastly, in the late game people can just buy counterspell, get spellbreaker, or just stack spirit resistance to make you completely useless, since it isn't easy for you to lower enemy spirit resistance. With that said, I hope I convinced you that the bomb Echo Shard playstyle is dogshit. Please stop throwing my games with this shit. I'm begging HHHHHHHHHH. So, what is the actual playstyle? Well, in my opinion the best playstyle is Veilwalker Gun Bebop. Hooks are infinitely easier to hit when the enemy literally doesn't see you coming. And building gun means you can actually kill things yourself.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
The thing most people don't notice about Bebop skill level ups is that they actually buff your gun a crazy amount. Punch level 2 gives you fast spin up time, 2x weapon range and plus 40% weapon damage for 9 seconds, while level 3 adds plus 100% bullets to your current clip. You can see when you have this buff when your gun glows bright red. At the same time, your hook level 1 grants plus 20% weapon damage against victims for 6 seconds. This is way better than it sounds, due to how gun damage is calculated in this game. To fully explain how it works would be out of the scope of this video, and I'll link a full explanation in the description. But TLDR, The 20% is a multiplier on top of all other damage increases, meaning you gain much more than just 20% increased damage. Hence, I believe Bebop might be one of the innately strongest gun characters in the game right now. With that established, let's move on to the actual guide on how to effectively play Bebop throughout the entire game from laning stage to late game. To start, let's do a quick rundown of Bebop's abilities. Your first ability is a punch. Use this after your hooks to further displace enemies, empower your gun, and to reset your hook cooldown once your punch is at level 3. You can also use this to knock away enemies who are chasing you or your team. Your second ability is Bomb. This is just used for extra damage when you are fighting enemies. There isn't much to say about it other than the fact that it makes you good at 1v1s at level 3 as it reduces the target's outgoing damage by 30%. Your third ability is your hook, the bread and butter of your kit. I will give more specific tips on using this later on, but know that it is what makes or breaks a god like Bebop that can carry his games, or a useless vermin that fails his team like a blind sniper. And lastly, your ultimate is a giant laser beam that does good damage early game, but falls off late as we level it last and are building for our gun. We mainly use this for farming, which I will detail later on. Laning stage. Now, to be honest, even assuming that you can hit every hook, Bebop is still a relatively mediocre laner, which means the fewer hooks you are able to land in lane, be it due to hero matchups or if you just suck balls, the worse you are as a laner. Now, why do I believe that? Well, first of all, Bebop just has a stupid massive hitbox, which makes laning against gun heroes, such as Infernus or Haze, an absolute fucking pain. Furthermore, taking gun trades early is relatively difficult, since your gun has a mandatory ramp time and really limited range at level 1. I say all this to temper your expectations, where in some extremely bad matchups, your only objective is to lose your lane as slow as possible and avoid dying more than 2 or 3 times. But hopefully with the tips I provide for you, you might be able to win your lane and go on to carry your game.
Nice.
To begin, which ability you take at the start of the game depends on your lane partner most of the time. However, whatever you do, do not take your bomb early. The main strength of Bebop in lane is the ever-present CC combo of hook plus punch, which if you land consistently, can almost always guarantee a lane win. As such, you do not want to delay the speed at which you unlock this combo. By taking your bomb at the start, you severely delay when you unlock the full hook punch combo, as it pushes back the unlock from 1000 souls to 1900 souls, almost double. Plus the damage of the bomb is really mediocre, and the bomb itself is hard to attach in a way that doesn't result in a negative damage trade as shown before. Take hook first most of the time, especially if your lane partner can punish a displaced enemy at level 1 like Abrams with charge, McGinnis with wall, or Mirage with his tornado, and take punch if you want to create space between you and the opponent, such as if you are against an Abrams or Billy. One important tip in lane is sliding, as this extends your clip, which importantly helps you to shove waves. With wave shove, you are given more freedom to hit hooks and punish, and enemies who are distracted shooting minions and confirming souls are usually easier to land hooks on. This is especially helpful early game, as Bebop's gun is quite weak and has startup time, meaning extending your magazine by sliding is very good. The best early items I find are Monster Rounds and Headshot Booster. Monster Rounds is great as its bonus damage to NPCs let you shove waves more easily, and will be useful throughout the game to help you farm and attack objectives efficiently. Wait a fucking moment, chat, did you just fucking see that? Will Smith, hit the fucking rewind time.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Oh my god, chat, it's 6, 7, ha 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 ha. Headshot Booster is also an extremely good item as it provides flat HP for you, and the 45 extra damage headshots are easy to apply due to your gun being a continuous laser beam, meaning it is basically free poke. Your general playstyle will be to shove wave ASAP, and then ping that your hook is off cooldown, so your teammate is ready for you to engage, and then try and hit the hook punch bomb combo to pressure enemies or even kill them. You usually want to play safe and only engage fully on hooking someone rather than take long trades. Sometimes you can just straight up engage in prolonged gunfights if the enemies have worse guns, worse aim, or if you are ahead by a ton. But a lot of your gun damage comes from landing your abilities, as mentioned before. Some games you will just hit no hooks, and in those cases, it feels like you are just playing farming sim or box running sim, but everyone will have highs and lows, so just try not to feed and pray your other lanes can gank you and break your stalemate. For abilities, rush level to punch for insane damage, then level to hook to get much longer range, so your hooks are easier to land, and then level to bomb for damage. As mentioned before, your ult early game has scary damage, but is easy to escape due to its really slow turn speed, so it is best to use once enemies don't have escapes left, such as when Mirage doesn't have Tornado, or when Infernus doesn't have Dash. Also try and gain high ground first before using the ult, so it is harder for enemies to break a line of sight. The next few items I most often get in lane are Battle Vest and Enchanter's Emblem. As punch and hook innately give damage, you don't need hero power from items, so these two items end up being very cost effective, as they give you survivability along with a little damage. If you are rolling the enemy really hard, you can consider saving up straight for Veil Walker, so you can roll even harder, as the invisibility it grants you means landing hooks almost become free. Your good matchups in lane are Yamato, Lash, Grey Talon, Vindictor and McGinnis. Yamato and Lash have predictable animations, which make hooking them easy, while the latter three lack mobility, meaning hooking them is usually, but not always, easier. On the other hand, your bad matchups include Haze, Infernus, Abrams, Billy and Doorman. Haze and Infernus can abuse your large hitbox, while Billy and Abrams like getting hooked as it lets them close the gap on you. Lastly, Doorman can instantly cart you or ult you after a hook, which makes winning against him really annoying and difficult. Against everyone else, you have a neutral matchup, but be careful whenever you hook a Dynamo, as he will be able to ult you and your team. Good lane partners for Bebop include anyone who likes to play close range, or have strong or frequent CC, to punish enemies that you hook. These include Abrams, Billy, Doorman, Dynamo, McGinnis, Kelvin, Mirage, Mo and Krill, Vindictor, Warden, and Wraith. Here are a few more miscellaneous tips. First, do keep in mind that you are very exposed while hooking enemies most of the time. In this clip, even though I hooked the Mirage because I was too far out in the open, the Infernus got a positive trade on me instead. Also, the bridge buffs spawn every 5 minutes. If you have the chance to contest them, do go for it. Especially in lane, once you get the gun buff, your DPS actually becomes quite scary, and you can low-key just start beaming people with your laser in straight 1v1s. And lastly, make sure to turn around after you hook someone, as this allows you to punch them backwards towards your team, displacing them even more. Now that we are done with the laning stage, let's discuss how to proceed in the mid-game. In terms of your mid-game playstyle, ideally you want to flash farm specific jungle camps, and then go gank the enemy. Specifically, the best and most efficient jungle camps to farm, as the various sinners sacrifices across the map, and the stacked tier 3 camps that both spawn at 8 minutes. The location of the stacked tier 3 camps are here, here, and here. You can easily farm these tier 3 camps using your bomb, punch and ultimates. As long as you farm these jungle camps and clear out minion waves once in a while, you will probably have a comfortable amount of farm and never fall behind. Now, what items do we get in the mid-game? Of course, as per the namesake of the build, Veil Walker is a must. Even if the item had no other stats, the on-demand invisibility alone would make it a must-buy, as the invis makes landing hooks on enemies extremely easy, since they can't dodge a hook they didn't see coming. Furthermore, the range at which your invisibility flickers is actually quite small, which means you can basically run right up to an unsuspecting enemy to basically guarantee that your hook will land. Like seriously, I feel like even someone who isn't super good at landing hooks normally will be able to do well with this build, because that's just how good Veil Walker feels on Bebop currently. For context, I would argue that Bebop's hook is the strongest part of his kit, as it lets you generate picks at a rate that few other heroes could match. In the past, items like Knockdown were built on Bebop just for the sole purpose of making hooks easier to land, but honestly, the answer was right under our noses the whole time, as there really isn't any other item other than Veil Walker that lets you get such consistent hooks from so early on in the game. With that said, the other stats the item provides are also beneficial. The extra health always helps with survivability, while the spirit power helps you to farm camps with your ultimate more easily. And of course, the healing and move speed it provides makes it such a good item for roaming and staying active on the map. Also, I should mention that there are a massive number of veils around the map, so finding one when you need it should never be a struggle. Hopefully I have convinced you of the power of building Veil Walker on Bebop, but what else should we build to further boost our character power? In my opinion, Fleetfoot is a must, as it not only gives you crazy mobility when used together with Veil Walker, but most importantly also removes the move speed penalty when shooting, which allows you to be much more mobile in fights. After that, Weakening Headshot is a good pickup, as it is trivial to headshot a target you just hooked, and lowering you enemy resistances allows for much easier kills. Weighted shots is also a staple for me, because every fucking game I play will have some bullshit chain CC, so its debuff resist and spirit resist really help me to stay alive, and its 30% increased weapon damage is quite valuable as well.
Bruh.
Anyways, for its downsides, bullet velocity literally does not affect us, as Bebop's gun is a hit-scan weapon, while the reduced stamina recovery is noticeable, but manageable with Veil Walker and Fleetfoot, and Loki just forces you to have good movement.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Now, here are some items you should avoid rushing early, as they end up gimping your hero power. Vampiric Burst is great late game for a burst of damage and survivability, but it doesn't give you enough damage in the mid-game to stay competitive damage-wise compared to other items. I would also avoid getting Siphon Bullets too early, since the amount of health stolen scales with boons, so it isn't super good until you are decently leveled. Other items I would avoid would also include all reload items, since your level 5 punch will at least reload your gun fully, as it adds 100% of your max ammo to your current ammo amount, and has a really short cooldown anyways. You might also be tempted to upgrade monster rounds to Cultist Sacrifice, but I honestly think it is overrated right now. The flat HP and fire rate is mediocre, and the ability range is frankly useless for Bebop, as all his abilities have enough range already. Furthermore, the main point of Cultist Sacrifice is to aid you in farming, but Bebop does not need a lot of farm, and can already farm stacked level 3 camps quite easily by himself. In a similar vein, I also don't see a point in buying Tesla Bullets, as it is mainly purchased to help you clear jungle camps and farm more easily, which is irrelevant for Bebop. So to sum it up, in the mid-game, you want to flash farm specific jungle camps, then gank the shit out of the enemy. It really doesn't get easier than that. Now let's move on to discuss the late game. So what items do I recommend instead? Honestly, as long as you roughly follow this build, you will do okay. If you notice, this build is quite well rounded, as a lot of the items we get also grant us resistances, meaning we aren't a glass cannon that dies straight away. If I find myself sitting on a lot of money early, I like to rush crippling headshot, as it is a huge power spike in my experience. I won't go through every item in the build, but here are some quickfire tips on item building on Bebop. First, if you are rolling your game quite hard and want more damage, you can get Hunter's Aura and Hollow Point on top of crippling headshot for even more bullet resist shred, which can usually bring the enemy resistance into the negatives, as shown in this clip. On the other hand, if you need to be more tanky, here are your options. For bullet resistance, escalating resilience is great, as your gun can build up to the max stacks in an instant, and you can get bullet resilience on top of that if you really need to. Plated armor is also a good late game option, especially if the enemy has many on-hit gun effects, like Haze or Infernus, though it does get hard countered by armor-piercing rounds. For spirit resistance, weighted shots are great as mentioned, and Frenzy is also an incredible late-game item. However, if you need something to tide you over, you might have to get Spirit Resilience instead. Spellbreaker is also extremely good if the enemy has strong spirit nukes. Usually, you won't need additional anti-heal, since Crippling Headshot already applies negative 30% healing reduction, but if the situation calls for it, Toxic Bullets and Inhibitor are both great pickups for the mid and late game respectively, since your fast fire rate allows for quick build-up for both their effects. If you need to shut down an enemy, buy Curse and use it after you hook them to guarantee a pick. Also, if you see carry heroes that really need movement abilities to escape, like Wraith, Miner, or Infernus, make sure to buy Slowing Hex early on, so you can guarantee early picks on them and shut them down completely. Sometimes, you might have some really bad games and end up having no farm and damage. In these cases, I would recommend rushing Curse, and then buying Superior Duration and Transcendent Cooldown, so you basically become a walking fuck you to one guy on the enemy team. After that, you have to decide if you can reasonably catch up in damage. If so, continue buying gun items as per normal, but if not, it's time to become an even bigger walking fuck you by buying items such as Silence Wave, Focus Lens, Knockdown, and Disarm as necessary. For your skill build, make sure to rush level 5 Punch for all the aforementioned reasons, followed by level 5 Hook, so that it has a really short cooldown, then level 5 Bomb, to lower enemy damage and make you better at 1v1s. And of course, we level the ultimate last, as we only use it for farming. Speaking of the level 5 Hook, once you have it, you low-key become a crowd control demon, as you can basically perma a lockdown one enemy. Just look at this clip and see how many times I get to hook the enemy, and how I literally shut down the enemy holiday ultimate by constantly hooking and punching her back. Anyways, your playstyle late game is basically the same as the mid game, as your goal is still to flash farm and get easy hooks by abusing Veilwalker invisibility. The only difference being that there will probably be more team fights in the late game. In those cases, try and prioritize hooking the enemy carries as much as possible, while also using your punch to keep dangerous enemies away from your own carry, such as a Victor, Abrams or Billy. While target prioritization is important, do keep in mind that a hook on a less impactful target is better than not hitting your hook at all. And lastly, in the late game, be careful when you hook a Haze that is ulting, as you might grief your whole team instead. Now for some matchup specific hook tips. As mentioned, hooking a Lash when he uses his slam, and a Yamato when she uses her slash, is really trivial. At the same time, you can hook both friendly and enemy mowing krills when they are ulting, to either further displace an enemy or save a friendly teammate. The same idea also applies to anyone inside of a viscous cube. With enough practice, You can also easily hook an Ivy during the startup animation of her flight to stop her from escaping. Lastly, you can also easily hook a Paradox that swaps your teammate, as the end location of the swap is fixed, and Paradox rarely buys Warpstone nowadays. Now, that is about the extent of the advice I have in regards to playing Veil Walker Gun Bebop. I do hope one day that Yoshi will finally buff the Echo Shard Bomb build, because it is honestly really fun and has sufficient counterplay to not be oppressive. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video or learnt something from it, and if not, I'm sorry for wasting almost 30 minutes of your time. Also, I spent a long time making this video, so I would appreciate if you did all the YouTube stuff by liking the video, smashing the subscribe button and sending me your social security number. Bye.